Yo, keyboard review. This here's the Keychron Q1 HE KNOB version. I do like me some knobs. Pause for a second here. So this keyboard does have rapid trigger, which is a good thing. It basically allows you to switch keys faster. However, I do also want to talk about some recent news in the keyboard world introduced by Razer, which they named Snap Tap. There's a couple videos by Optimum, but basically it allows perfect strafing and counter strafing by instantly disabling the last used key when you press a new one. This keyboard, the Keychron, which does have rapid trigger, is almost as good for most games, but if you are a CS player mainly, the Razer and its Snap Tap feature is kind of insane for that. There is a bit of controversy around it, like it's too easy to counter strafe, which was previously like a movement skill that took a lot of practice to get down good, and now you can basically do it perfectly with no effort. If they do eventually ban this technology, I did ask the guys at Keychron about a week ago, and someone from marketing reached me and said, I just confirmed with the team and received feedback that the engineer is currently working on the programs. I'll reach out to you once the update is complete. That sounds a little vague to me, but I mean, if they want to keep up in the space, you know, this is the meta now. Optimum's video went incredibly viral, you know, for a keyboard video. So I feel like most keyboard manufacturers should be kind of on this. Otherwise, most competitive players are just going to go to Razer or Wuthering. But yeah, we'll see. Update time, they finally got back to me and said they would be introducing this exact feature coming in September, which is cool to see. I might make a little follow-up when that feature actually gets added to the software, but I'm looking forward to testing it out. Couple things that jumped out to me about this keyboard is how heavy it is. I'm gonna drop it from about 1 inch, and my overhead stand will probably wobble a lot, but it's super heavy. It's crazy. I realized while editing a drop test isn't that scientific, so we're actually just gonna weigh the keyboard. And yeah, 1,770 grams, which is just under 4 pounds. That might not sound like a lot, but for a keyboard, it is. For comparison, here's my even larger Logitech keyboard, which we're gonna throw on the scale as well. And it's literally less than half the weight of this one. And just for fun, we'll go ahead and throw the Apple keyboard on the scale as well. And that's like 1/8 of the Keychron. It is heavy, but that's kind of a good thing with the keyboard. It's not like difficult to move it from one place to another, but when it is in the place, you know, it's not gonna be moving around, you know? And sure, while I have some of these keyboards out, we can do a sound comparison. I guess it can be a preference thing, but by far the one that sounds the most pleasing to my ears is the Keychron for sure. Granted, the Apple one is the quietest, but it's also not a mechanical keyboard at all. I'm not even sure why it's here. If you don't like the green and white, there is also another color scheme. And honestly, after having seen the green and white in person, I probably would have gone with the darker one. Camera probably doesn't pick this up, but the cage it's in and the keycaps, the white keycaps, are a different shade of white. This is more beige-ish, and the keycaps are like pure snow white. I'll take a picture with my phone because that's kind of idiot proof. I still do think it's a very nice looking keyboard. Oh yeah, I should also mention before we get too deep into this, they actually did send this out to me. I'm not getting paid or anything to talk about it. They were just like, hey, want to check out our keyboard? And I was like, sure. I like looking at new technology. I'm also not sending this video to them for review or anything, so all thoughts are my own. A few things do come in the box, like this little screwdriver screw set, I guess, if you want to open it and stuff. A cable, which I'm not using because I have one. USB-C to A adapter, thing to pull off your keycaps, and some extra keycaps depending on if you're using Mac or Windows. It is pretty easy. You just put the thing down there and then boop, so it comes off. We can also take a look at the switches, I suppose. I'm going to get exhausted if I have to lift this up all the time though, but yeah, they are purple. Hall Effect Gateron 2.0 magnetic switches. I went ahead and took off all the keycaps so you can see what it looks like with all the keycaps removed, but also because I wanted to put on a new set of keycaps. So we're gonna do that real quick. Not actually a time lapse, by the way, just very annoying editing. But yeah, I really like the look of these keycaps. The white on the keycaps in this case is definitely closer to the shell, and I just love the yellow accents as well as the kana. But since I did this after recording the video, we're gonna be jumping back to the green one. It also does have RGB, The camera does pick that up a little bit when the keycap is off, but it is very subtle RGB. Like you can probably see it down here a little bit. It is a little more apparent in person and from a normal viewing angle, and you can obviously turn it off if you're not into RGBs. They do also have a web-based tool where you can do a lot more things with the keyboard. You do have to connect it with a cable, I believe, in this case. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna connect. You can set the actuation distance of different keys. So like Q, for example, we can set that to trigger basically immediately as soon as we touch it. So yeah, we have a notepad pulled up and our keyboard here. So our Q is set to the lowest actuation possible. And look, Q, I barely even touched it. And then W, you know, we gotta go all the way down for W. I guess it's kind of a personal preference thing if you'd rather have your keys actuate instantaneously as soon as you touch them, or, you know, if you want to bottom them out, of course, you can have it somewhere in the middle as well. So yeah, definitely some high-end features here already. I mean, of course, it's not a cheap keyboard, coming in at $219 USD, but I think for everything you're getting, it's actually pretty good value. I will say on the website, the white definitely looks more white here than in real life. I guess it could possibly just be my lighting, though I would imagine the white keycaps would also be affected by that. We also, of course, have the standards like remapping your key. If you want E to actually be H for some reason, you can do that. We also have different presets up here, 2 for Mac, 2 for Windows. So depending on what you're doing, you can quickly switch profiles and have a completely different set of keys. They also do have a macro mode. For those that don't know what a macro is, it's basically inputting a number of keys and then you can press one key to do all those keys. There's lots of ways to make macros, but my favorite way, because it's the easiest, is just the record function over here. Hey, space, Moglet. So then we're gonna hit stop and submit. So now this macro is tied to M0. So we can just go up to key map now, go to macro, and we've already set M0 to key 1 here. And then let's just go to a text field here and press the 1 button, and you'll see just Hey Moglets comes up. So anytime I ever want to say Hey Moglets, I just have to press 1 now. Obviously a very simple example, but you can do pretty much anything. Of course, we do have RGB options as well. I turned my lights off so it's a little easier to see, but sure, we'll cycle through a couple of the you know, RGB effects for anyone that cares about this. We of course do have solid color. It is at max brightness actually right now. It's very subtle, you know. Nothing insane here. I will say it does look better from a typical perspective. This one's pretty neat. You got like a rainbow thing going off when you press the button. You can, of course, change the color as well. You got all the basic options in there. There are a lot of other options: one key, multiple commands, long press switch, gamepad, analog, and curve. I will go ahead and show you it in use as well. Just playing some Wuthering Waves here. Obviously not the most actions per second game in the world. We will also do some general typing, though I am not a good typer at all. I don't have the proper techniques and I'm pretty slow, but it's just for sound reasons. So, I mean, there's the keyboard. I know most of it was just talking about the software, but at the end of the day, what am I supposed to talk about? Yeah, all around, I think it's a really nice keyboard. It's my main keyboard now. I mean, it's not like I have hundreds of keyboards and this is some kind of like statement, but I do have like 3 or 4, and at least one of them is in a similar price point to this. And I just kind of like how neat and compact this is. I do like the color, though if I saw them both in person, I probably would have picked up the black one. But yeah, I think that's about it. Leave any thoughts you have in the comments if you so wish. Thanks, as always, for watching. And until next time.